favor of queer liberation, say aye. All in favor of queer liberation, say aye. Hello and welcome to yet another amazing superhero show right here on YouTube with myself, Mondi, the queer superhero. DJing is a craft that is getting more and more popular, and a lot of queer people are doing an amazing job with it. I'm very happy to announce that my guest today is DJ LIKKYLIKS. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, and yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. We had to have you over.
It's about time.
It is about time, definitely. So on this show, we pride ourselves in diversity, and it's very important for us to get people's pronouns very correct. I first start off by saying, hi, my name is Mondi. I'm a genderqueer person, and my pronouns are they, them. And what are your pronouns, and how do you identify?
She, her, transgender woman.
Yes! Woo! That's fantastic. So let's get into it. Identity is a journey. Can you take us back to the very earliest beginning when you first became aware of your identity?
I think I've always known more than anything. I just never had the platform, the resources, and just the knowledge of who I am, I guess. But I've always felt like I was one of the girls. I grew up in a household full of women. I befriended a lot of girls growing up. So I always felt like I was not one of them, but I am one of them. And not even in a sense that, because I always just was like, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. And it was not even in a internalized homophobia type of way, but I never was able to explain my personal identity. And then I think the hindsight was when I was made aware of what being non-binary is. So once I heard that, I was like, okay, I think this might be who I am. I think this is what I identify as. And then for the longest time, I always was gender fluid, and I had gender fluid pronouns, so any pronouns went by. But a lot of my friends saw me as a girl. They were like, you're so feminine. And even at that, they would walk on eggshells, and they would be like, are you comfortable with us calling you she or doll or her? And with that, I really felt the most affirmed than I ever have with any other pronouns, and just identity. And I was like, the she pronouns are kind of like they stringing along, and I like the sound of it. So I introduced they and she into my pronouns. I did a bit of research, and I found out that my full identity is non-binary, trans feminine, transgender woman.
Yes, wow.
So I still do identify as non-binary. I feel like my personal transness is aligned and inclined with being a non-binary folk. I don't want to project my own personal views and identities, but I feel like as a trans body, you cannot not acknowledge that the rite of passage or the identity of transness is all in the umbrella of being non-binary. So I do understand that there are non-binary people that don't identify as transgender, and there are transgender people that don't identify as non-binary. But in my own personal journey and my own personal identity, I feel like if you cannot be non-binary and not being trans, and you cannot be trans and not be non-binary, it's all within the same umbrella.
Yes.
So I've always known, it's just that I guess it's the labeling and the terms and the research, I guess, that made me come home to myself more than anything.
That's beautiful. I mean, when you became aware of it, is there anybody that you shared this with?
At first, I said it to myself. I was like, I remember there was a specific blog that gave me the woo-ha moment. They were like, if you're unsure of your identity, try playing around with Likona's transgender, Likona's a she. And I remember it was like at 1 a.m. at home, which is not even the best place for me to actually find home within myself, because I was never really platformed as a queer body at home. But it was so funny. It was at 1 a.m. I'm like, wait, I'm transgender. I was like, wait, it was it was a bling in the moment kind of thing. And then I only told a few of my friends. It was never even a thing of like, I'm coming out. Okay, guys, this is what's happening. I never really came out because I've always felt like I've never had the privilege of experimenting within my identity. I've always been boxed as a queer body from a very young age. So I always felt like it's not my duty to tell people who I am. But it was a few of my close friends. So my best friend and within my immediate friends, I told them that, okay, I feel like I'm really, really enjoying the she pronouns the most, and I'm really going to start using them more. I prefer you guys using them more until I'm sure within my identity. And then after that, obviously, after the affirmations and after them accommodating me, if that's the word to use, I realized that this is who I am. This is what I want. And I was actually grateful that I had the community of friends and people in my life to allow me to just figure myself out, you know, and not be pressured. Like, I'm so grateful. Even within high school, it's funny because those are still my friends till this day. Everyone else used to question me. They used to ask, who are you? What are you? Are you sure you're not queer? And I never had that with my friends. They used to defend me. Whatever identity I said was my identity, that was the identity that they stuck with. And people, if people didn't respect that identity, they would defend me. So I'm really grateful that I had that room, that platform to just be like, okay, friends, I think this is who I am. And I would appreciate if we respect this journey. Because I don't want to lie, it's hard to accommodate people within their personal identities, especially if it's ever changing. So to have people grow with you, to have people have the same mentality as you, to have people meet you more than halfway within yourself, it's so nice to have that, you know, as a queer body, and as someone who didn't have the platform growing up to just explore who I am, because I feel like we should be given the leverage to explore. If today I wake up and I feel like I'm not who I said I was yesterday, I must be given the platform to say I am who I am today. And I'm truly grateful that my friends were that. They never really were like, no, but Likona, you literally just said your pronouns were they. No, but Likona, you literally, you know what I'm saying? They were like, okay, this is who you are. We're rolling with that. You get what I'm saying? So it was my personal friends, it was my community of friendships that got to experience me coming out, I guess. But I never really had a come out story ever within my entire queer journey, I guess.
Wow, okay, that's really amazing just to hear how your friends have influenced your life and have supported you through everything. Now, queer people experience a lot of prejudice. Have you ever experienced any kind of prejudice, and what did that kind of look like when you experienced it?
Oh, like every day. Every day. So I remember I was having a conversation with my cousin, they're also queer, and I was telling them that I feel like my personal identity and my queerness is very visible. There's no day where I'm like, I'm choosing not to be queer. I'm choosing not to be seen as queer. I'm choosing not to be perceived as queer. So I've always felt like I'm always visible. In some of that, I told my cousin that I don't own any rainbow stuff because I just feel like I'm the rainbow. I'm the flag. You know what I'm saying? But I've always experienced violence as a queer body from a young age. I've always, even before I came out, I was always visible. People have always saw me for who I am, which can be a good thing and at the same time can be a bad thing. So I used to be bullied. I used to be called names. But I think it's getting more violent and more aggressive as I'm getting older. And as I'm more visible, like I have to be cautious of the spaces I go to. Like recently, I went to CBD and I've never had any problems with CBD. Like I've always grown up going to town, even where I'm from. So I've always felt safe, and I've always known that as much as I'm visible, like I've always just felt like I'm safe enough and I'm not going to be prone to any violence in such spaces. But I had two encounters in the last couple of months. One, I was chased literally by two men. And they, like, everyone was watching. I was chased by two men, and you could see the one he initially grabbed my arm in such an aggressive way, and then I pulled back because I'm like, no, this is gonna get violent, and I start walking fast, and I was with my friend, so they don't know what to do. She's a girl, she's also queer, but she can get past spaces and can navigate spaces without being perceived as queer. But she was so scared for me because she's always been one of the few friends that protect me, has always been one of the few friends that make sure people get my identity right and my pronouns right. So I can imagine the fear that was also imposed on her and also projected on her, because we don't know what to do. Everyone is literally watching me being chased down, me being catcalled by these men, and they're walking within the same pace as I am. It's not a matter of they're just walking, like they are working towards me with an intention of harming me. But luckily we made it out and nothing happened to me. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was literally groped by a group of men also in town. So it's the little things like that. I mean, I do get the eyes and I do get the catcalling. The catcalling does happen even if you are not queer. If you do express yourself a certain way, especially if you are hyper feminine, you
Yes.
are gonna be catcalled. And this is not me justifying it. It's just this is me accepting the reality as a hyper feminine body in South Africa. So the catcalling I'm used to, I can dismiss it, but I think the fear I've been getting now more than ever is the violence, and I haven't really, besides the groping, I haven't really experienced extreme violence
Yes.
for being a queer body, yes, but I always live in fear that someone's gonna actually get the opportunity and they're gonna have the platform to actually perform whatever ill treatment or ill thoughts that they have towards me, you know. So I don't want to lie, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not nice. Hence, whenever queer bodies are like, this is not us choosing to be these people. This is not a choice. This is not a cosplay. This is not a performance. This is our identities. We are aware of the things we, if I can put it like this, we put ourselves through. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's not even in a sense that we voluntarily putting ourselves through these stuff. We want to be ourselves. We want to come home to ourselves. We want to express ourselves. But we also do live in fear that I'm going to be harmed or die in the hands of someone else, you know. So like being myself and choosing to be myself is not a choice at all. But I've had a lot of experiences where I've been subjected to violence as a
Yes.
queer body, specifically towards my queerness.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. That must have not been easy, but I appreciate you just giving us an insight on a lot of the violence that you experienced.
I think more than anything, having these conversations are hard, but at the end of the day, I feel like as a community, we are always working towards having a better future for the
Yes.
next community, whether we're doing it consciously or subconsciously. So I feel like just having the platform to talk about these things just gives the insight to the younger queer bodies that this is the reality of being a queer body, you know. Because I've grown to realize that I do have a platform and I do have people that look up to me and I do have a level of influence.
Yeah.
So I understand that there are younger people and there are people that look up to me, and I always just show the good side of things, and I always
Yeah.
show like the party side, the fun side, the dressing up, looking pretty, meeting up with my other doll friends, and you know, the nice life of being queer. But at the end of the day, like there is two ends of being a queer body.
Yeah.
And I understand that as much as I'm not an activist in the sense that I'm gonna claim myself to be an activist and do the work and but me being myself and living my truth and being honest about my truth and being open about my truth, I understand that to a certain level that is a form of activism. And I feel like once you are a visible queer body, you're an
Yes,
activist.
you're an activist,
So I
true.
feel like to extend my activism personally, opening up about my experiences is one platform and one way of just contributing to my personal activism, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Now, listen, being queer and black has its own complexities, and our family plays a huge role. I mean, how do you deal with being queer and black and navigating those two complexities?
I still am navigating them. I think it's not a thing of, okay, I've healed, or another thing of, I've come home to myself and I've realized who I am, and it ends there. It's an ever growing and ever continuous journey where you constantly have to be unpacking, constantly have to be knowing and aware of your environments, because just alone as a black body, you are subjected to so much prejudice, you're subjected to so much violence, you're subjected
Yes.
to so much harm towards the world. So navigating life as a black queer body is not easy. I think even just starting from home, like I said, I never got the platform to be queer. So understanding my queerness as a black body, coming from Eastern London, Eastern Cape, was just, it was crazy. In a sense that I'm experiencing the world hating me for being black. Now I'm experiencing the world hating me for being queer by
yeah.
also black people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm not winning. I'm not gonna win. But it always just gave me the thing of that I have a superpower. I feel like as black people, we have
Yes, welcome.
superpowers.
Superpowers, the
you
cool
know,
superhero show.
we have superpowers, and as queer bodies, we have extra superpowers.
Yes.
So I feel like I get to have the privilege of just seeing life for what it is, and I get to have the privilege of being honest with the realities of life, my own personal life and other people's personal lives. So it's not easy. Even now at home, I'm still in a position where I have to train them and I have to walk them through, and it has to be a gradual pace where I have to teach them and educate them, and you know what I'm saying, because like the people from home, my mom is really relatively old, so it's not even a sense of hatred or anything. It's just that she never really was exposed to queerness, black queerness, as much as I'm exposed to. I literally can go on the internet right now on my phone and search, and I'll have a point of reference for my identity, for my background, for, you get what I'm saying? And I have the knowledge, and I went to school, so I also have the language for it. So I understand that as much as she's educated and stuff, I understand that her experiences are quite different, and other black people's experiences. Even in the hood, like growing up in the hood, from where I'm from, I never saw a lot of people that looked like me. I think that's also why it was so hard for me to navigate my queerness. And this is not me invalidating queer bodies that are within the hood or grew up in the hood. It's just that where I'm from, I've never used to see people like me. So coming to Joburg and just being exposed to the internet really gave me that platform to, you know, find myself and see myself. But I don't want to lie, being queer and black is hard in the sense that you constantly have to explain yourself, you constantly have to explain your identity, you constantly have to walk on eggshells to make sure that everyone else is fine. And I think more than anything, you constantly have to work 10 times, if you're not 100 times harder than the next person, just to get the crumbs of what the next person is getting. Whether it's in workspaces, whether it's in relationships, you always just have to work really, really hard to prove yourself as a black and a queer body. I think more than anything, those are the hardest things, besides having to explain yourself, obviously. I think just having to constantly be an overachiever is what makes it hard, being black and queer and the coexistence of both. Because you did get tired, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we are humans, and I understand, like I'm saying, we have superpowers and stuff, and we're extraordinary beings. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to be extraordinary beings. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have to do activism. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have to work extra hard just to be considered. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes queer bodies just want to live. They want to get a simple job, live a simple life, get married, have children, and you know what I'm saying? Like other folks. So the fact that we always constantly have to work really, really hard just to prove ourselves, or just to be recognized, or just to be seen, I think is the one thing that frustrates me in the coexistence of being black and queer at the same time.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That was the whole mouth. I appreciate it so much. So our schooling years are a very fundamental part of our lives. What is that one thing that you wish you knew then than you know now?
In terms of schooling?
Yeah, in terms of your schooling years.
I wish I actually pursued my dreams. I was always scared. I've always felt like I need to be safe. Always loved money, always knew I had to make it big in life, and I've always known that with being queer, you always have to work extra hard so you can have a space for yourself, and just if things don't go well with your family, within friendships, or just your own overall community, you know that you have yourself to fall back on. Now looking at it in a perspective where I'm basically done with school and I've experienced life as a queer body fully, I just wish that I just believed in myself. I just believed in myself. I just believed in my purpose. Because I feel like my career is a purpose more than anything. It's not just a thing of, it's a skill, I want to do this for hobby, or it's a purpose, it's a calling. I wish I believed in the calling that I had from when I realized I had the calling, because I've always known this is what I'm destined to do. So I wish I went to school for it. I wish I got the educational background for it. And I wish I gave the career and just the media platform that I'm within the further respect of actually acquiring a proper solid qualification for it, if I'm making sense.
Okay, yeah, definitely. How important is having queer friends?
Very important. Very important. Very, very important. I think me coming to terms with my queerness was having queer friends. So the first circle of friends that were fully out were friends that I made over the internet, turned to be friends that made me help navigate Joburg better when I moved here, because they were
Yes.
based here at that time and I was still in East London. And they were just living their lives and everything. And from seeing who they were, from seeing what they were doing, and just seeing, and they were really young, they were like 16. I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be able, and not even in the sense of queerness. I was saying I want to be able to get to the level of expression, getting to the level of comfort within myself, to be able to express myself the way that they are. I was really inspired by them. So more than anything, not even just in sense that I have creative friends, in the sense of just being queer, like as a queer body, you need that community of friends to fall back on, and not even in a sense of to burden your community of people, but like the reality is some of us are not going to have great relationships with our immediate families.
Yeah.
So you need someone to fall back on. You need someone to consider your own chosen family. And I think now, after I came into my womanhood, I realized the importance of not just having queer friends, but having friends within your own personal identity.
Yes.
So being a Tigo was something that was a struggle for me, because I was always thought I was non-binary and I always thought I was queer, but I never really came to the terms of actually me being transgender.
Yeah.
And having a circle of friends that were transgender and within the same age group as me made the transition so much easier. The girls told me about hormones. They told me where to get hormones. I knew I didn't even have to do the research, because it was just a open, casual conversation that I had within my circle of friends. Like, I know if I want to pay for hormones, I don't want to go the government route, where to go. I know where to go for bottom surgery if I consider doing that. You know what I'm saying? I know where to get laser if I want to get laser for my facial hair and just the hair in my body. And it's just the little things like that where you realize that you do need that community of queer people, not necessarily just within your own personal identity, but as a queer body, I advocate and I endorse you having a community of people. And it doesn't have to be a huge circle of friends where it's full of queer people. No, but you must have your people that are going to understand you, because there are so many complexities that you experience as a queer bodies that even if when you explain them to your straight friends, they're not going to understand the level of conversation of the complexity. So you do need someone that's going to know where you're coming from and you feel like you can come home to, if I'm making sense.
Yeah, you are. Have you ever experienced any form of internal homophobia? And what is your take on it?
Internalizing in my own personal perspective. Yes. Before I came into my transness, I was aware of my queerness. I came in terms to my queerness. I accepted my queerness, and I learned to love my queerness. But I always just felt like, no, like why, like you know. And then even with being a T-girl, sometimes I'm just like, life would have been so much easier, God, if you made me a cis girl. And I understand that was not the intention and that was not the purpose. I understand that God making me a transgender woman was a bigger purpose beyond me. It was a bigger purpose beyond my community. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still struggling with it, but I'm in a way better place. I'm so much comfortable within myself, within my body. I haven't transitioned. I am planning on transitioning, but I haven't transitioned. But the fact that I'm comfortable within my body, even though I haven't transitioned, just proves to me that I've worked towards my internalized queerphobia, if I can say. But I've always had it. I feel like we are put in such a position as queer bodies to hate ourselves.
Yes, we are.
We are, all of us. No matter how much self-love you can pour into yourself, no matter how much love you do receive from people around you, the world puts you in a position where you are forced to hate yourself. And the level of hatred is obviously going to differ from people to people and from experience to experience. But I feel like naturally as queer bodies, one way or another, from time to time, from a certain situation, we do, to a certain level, experience internalized queerphobia because of the way the world treats us.
Yes.
So yes, I have experienced internalized transphobia, queerphobia, homophobia.
Like, how do you navigate having friendship with cishet men if you definitely if you have a friendship with them? I'm asking this question if you know, because I sometimes don't feel safe in cishet heterosexual spaces. So how do you navigate having friendships with cishet men?
Let me tell you something. I don't have a lot of cishet men as friends.
Wow.
So the older I grow, the more I just had a lot of women, a lot of queer women, a lot of trans women, a lot of queer men, and like my circle of friends consists of queerness, and it was
Yeah.
never an intention of actively seeking to make friendships with queer bodies
Yeah.
only. But for the most part, I just felt the most safest around queer people. So, like you're saying, you are struggling navigating
Yes.
safety. So for me, safety comes as a priority, even subconsciously. It's
Yes.
never a thing of I'm constantly seeking to be safe, even though that's the T. But like within friendships, it's never a thing of I need to be safe. I need to be able to be myself. But I don't befriend a lot of like a lot of my friends are queer bodies. I have like a good 2 3 friends that are cis het men, and navigating those spaces with them and just friendships with them is easy because they are allies actually, and they do understand the privilege and just the space that they are in
Yeah.
as cis men. But I don't have a lot of friends as cis men because of that very valid reason of
Yeah,
safety.
of safety. Yeah, I get you. Have you ever been in a space where you have to dim down your queerness just to feel safe?
In the past, yes. In the past, yes. So like I keep referencing to my journey before I came into my womanhood and before I accepted and expressed myself as a woman. I used to be I used to be able to dabble in everything. I can be passing. I can be very hyper queer. I can be very hyper visible, and I used that as a way to navigate the world. So during spaces where I knew I would be safe, mostly nightlife spaces and mostly party spaces, I knew I could be queer. So I would doll up still. I'll wear my skirts with my beard showing
Yes.
and then during the day I would literally dress up like a man and I would be perceived as a man. So yes, for the most part, for most of my life, for most of my teen, I navigated spaces dimming down, watering down my
Yeah.
queerness. But now the position I'm in, it's not even a thing of I choose. Like I literally have braids. Like even if I don't have makeup on, even if I'm not dressed hyper feminine and even like whatever dress code I'm in,
Yeah.
I'm still visible. You still see that I'm queer. It's not even a matter of I'm choosing to put aside my queerness. I'm choosing to not express myself as a queer body. I'm in a position where I constantly have to show up as a queer body. And I do understand that's a lot of responsibility, but I am grateful be to feel safe within myself and to feel confident within myself to just be queer and just be me and express myself for who I am.
All right. There's a huge conversation around femininity. What is your take on femphobia?
Ooh. Let me tell you something. I was having this conversation with a couple of close friends of mine. I'm gonna speak in the aspect of being a doll, being a T-girl,
Yes.
and being a non-binary folk that identify as a femme. In particularly, navigating dating spaces is where you really feel that you are a femme body.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this in the sense that I don't struggle making friends as a femme body. The girls like me, the dolls like me, even the masculine presenting queer bodies, they like me within friendships. But it's a whole different thing having to navigate romantic spaces as a body that's very feminine, very queer also. We don't have that space. We don't have that platform. And if we do have the people that we attract or are attracted to us, it's in hiding. It's in, I love you, but I can't express it to the world.
Yeah.
I love you, but I can't show the love to other people. My friends can't know. And so just in those spaces, specifically in my personal experience, the romantic spaces are where you feel the femphobia the most. You know what I'm saying? I've had men tell me to water down my femininity just for me to align with them or just for me to be where they're at. And I'm like, no, I've worked so hard
to get to be here.
you know what I'm saying? I've done the labor. I've did the emotions. I went to therapy. I've had the conversations with myself, with my friends. You know what I'm saying? For me to dim myself down for a man, for romance. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong. Like, I do understand that to a certain level, as much as I'm a femme body, I do meet the desirability standards to a certain extent. So I understand that my conversation and my experiences are not going to be the same experiences as other femme bodies. And I do, don't get me wrong, I do be attracting people that are within my standard and within my level of, okay, this is who I am, this is what I do, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I cannot not acknowledge the downside of me being a femme body, navigating romantic spaces, you know. But yeah, my femininity, once I came into my femininity, I think I really, really have been struggling with just dating and with just navigating romantic spaces, because I have a point of reference, because there was a point where I really presented as a hyper masculine folk. And as much as queer body, the dating pool is quite small for us.
Yes.
It's really extremely small when you are queer femme body.
Yes.
And you want someone that's gonna meet you and come and accept you for who you are. Coming as you are, and they're gonna accept you for coming as you are, if I'm making sense.
All right. So purpose is a very important aspect. Do you feel like you found your purpose?
Yes.
All right. So what does that look like?
It looks like being a representation for bodies that look like mine.
Yeah.
It looks like going into spaces, fighting to get a seat at a table so that the next generation doesn't have to fight. They can just walk inside the door, grab their seat, and they be part of the table without having to have conversations, without having to fight to be considered to be part of the table, if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just about DJing. It's just me realizing that I'm in a point of my life where I have so much access. I have so much access to so many things. I did the fighting. I'm still fighting, and I'm still gonna have to fight. But the big fights, they're almost over.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that this is not just about me. I've always been selfish about my identity and my queerness. It's always just been like, you are like, I don't have to be an activist. I don't have to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm realizing that I would never be who I am today if it was not for the previous generation of trans women in particular. Not to invalidate other queer bodies, but the reality is the trans women were the one at the front. They were the one that were visible. They were the ones that gave us the rights. They were the ones that gave me the opportunity to be able to go through all the phases of my queer journey, to be able to get to the point where I'm like, I'm actually a transgender woman, and I have the privilege to express myself in whatever way I want to express myself until I come home to myself. So I want to be an extension of that. I want to leave, not necessarily a legacy of LIKKYLIKS, or where I'm giving my flowers and I'm like this activist, or I want to know where, when I'm older and I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, I'm not entering these spaces anymore. I'm retired, or I'm resting. I want to be in that position where I'm like, I did my part.
Yeah.
I'm happy with where we are, because I know if for the next couple of years and decades, we're still going to have a lot of fights to do as queer bodies. They're not going to be as big as what we're experiencing now, but I want to be part of the contribution to the betterness of queer people. So I think that's my purpose, and that's what it looks like.
Wow, okay. Now, listen, last question before we go into an ad. Mental health is a very important and sensitive topic. I mean, what is your take on mental health in the community?
I think you asked me earlier the importance of having queer friends.
Yes.
It goes back to that question and that answer. You need a community of people where you can let your guard down.
Yes.
Where you can just, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this in a sense of burden your friends, because inheriting people's emotions and health or mental spaces or mental positions can be burdening when you're not in that capacity. But for the most part, from what I've experienced, we don't just use the word community loosely as queer bodies.
Yes.
Community is community for us, whether it's big or small, and we believe in having a community and platforming for a community. So I believe in having a community of people where you can open up and be yourself, because the reality is we can't all afford therapy. We can't all afford the expenses of getting proper medical health and help for our mental illnesses and our mental treatments. You know what I'm saying? So the ideal answer for you would be, if you can go to therapy, please go to therapy.
Yes.
If you can go to therapy and you have the means and you have the funds, please do it. Take your time. Baby steps if it means that. But if you can't, don't isolate yourself. Don't be alone. Don't be in the dark. And I understand the positions that we are put as queer bodies that can trigger us and that can put us in such a very, very dark space, you know. I understand the world that we live in, and I understand the realities that we experience as queer bodies in South Africa. But at the end of the day, you need to have people that you can let loose to and just be able to talk about your things, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they should be your therapists and they should be professionals, but it does help to a certain extent. It does give you that sense of relief, and it does take some weight off over your shoulders, just being able to open up and just say, hey friend, I'm feeling like this, like I'm not happy within myself, I'm not happy because of A, B, and C, you know what I'm saying? And they don't also need to have an answer for you, you know what I'm saying? Just them listening to you does contribute to the better of your mental state, I guess.
Okay, thank you so much. Alrighty. We're gonna get into a little bit of some bit of snippets coming through. We'll see after this when we come back.
It's LIKKYLIKS, the iconic bitch, the diva.
Welcome back. You're still tuning into the Queer Superhero Show right here on YouTube with myself, Mondi, the Queer Superhero Show. And I'm with the lovely LIKKYLIKS today, doing the damn things that need to be done. Our TJ Per. What inspired you to get into DJing?
Ooh, such a funny story. So growing up, my sister, when I was like 4, she used to call me DJ Lids. I've always loved music as a kid. I grew up in a home that had a lot of resources when it came to music. When there were cassettes, we had a lot of cassettes. My mom had a car that had cassettes, and then when we got into CDs, we had a lot of those. So I grew up in a household that had a lot of music, and each person had their own individuality when it came to music. So a lot of the music that I do consume today was influenced by my mom and my sisters and my cousins, because everyone had their own individual taste. So a huge contributing part of me being a DJ was just the level of influence that I had growing up. But my sister manifesting me being a DJ when I was 4 is crazy for me to not to actually be really a DJ. And I don't think it was even something that serious. It was just that I really just had a fond interest in music. And then when I was in high school, like everyone knew that I really liked music, to the point where I was in charge of the playlist for our matric farewell.
Yeah, oh wow.
And I'm looking back at it now that I'm older, I'm just like, it's always been there. The signs have always been there. And then before I moved to Joburg, I was acquainted to Lelo What's Good.
Yes.
And I was like, Lelo, please teach me how to DJ when I get to Joburg. I didn't even have a plan to get to the city at the time, but I was like, I need to learn. And I didn't think it was going to be a big career or it would be where I am today. And Lelo, once I moved to Joburg, I hit them up. They were like, no, I'm not in a space to teach anyone as I don't have my own equipment but I can refer you to Pussy Party. So it's a queer and femme prominent incubator for DJing and to train and to teach DJing.
Yeah.
So, and at that time I was not very visible with my queerness. I still passed off as a man. But they welcomed me with open arms and they taught me everything that I know. This was in my first year. Imagine, came to Joburg to study and I'm busy juggling DJing with everything else that I was doing at the time. I learned through Pussy Party. My instructor was Coco. Shout out to Coco. And she taught me everything. And she was so impressed with everything that I do because I was so quick with learning. And the rest was history. After Pussy Party, I guess my career took off. And I realized that this is actually beyond me. Like, I'm actually really good at this. Like, it's not just fun or hobby or just partying. This is actually a career and it's a full-time job for me now. So it was a thing of, it's always been there. I never was actively seeking for it. It just found me. It came to me. So then hence I call it a calling. It was a calling. Music and just artistry has always been a calling for me.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. DJing is not easy. How did you manage the challenges that come with it, honestly?
It came easy for me.
Really?
It came so easy for me. From the learning to the equipment it came so easy for me. And also I had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I had a lot of practice. And when I had started out DJing, I played a lot of stuff, but it was always just stuff that I enjoyed, stuff that I already consumed in my own personal space. So I moved to Joburg right at the rising of Amapiano. And I come from East London. That we're not really exposed to that. We were not exposed to Amapiano at the time. So I was exposed to a lot of other house genres, a lot of gqom, a lot of deep house, a lot of house. So I played that and a lot of just like experimental music. So I was having fun with it more than anything. It was not a thing of I'm gonna be an Amapiano DJ so I can make a career out of this and I can get bookings and. It was just a matter of I want to learn to DJ so I can play music for me and my friends and we can have fun. So with that in the back of my head, I've always just really enjoyed DJing because I've always I was having fun with it, even with the practice that came with it. I think the main challenges that came with it was realizing that I'm in a space full of men and I'm going to have to work really extra hard to be taken seriously and to be seen as a professional here, not just this other queer body who's trying to make it in this space. You know, I think those are the big challenges for me. And trying to overcome those meant that I always had to be glammed up for my gigs. I always had to look good. I always had to be on time. I always had to have the new music ready. I always had to, you get what I'm saying? But it was minor challenges because I always loved dressing up and I always loved looking good for my gigs. And I always do take my job seriously. So I always had the new music and I always was going out of my way to make sure I have a good set and a well-prepared set. So the challenges never really felt like challenges because it was stuff that I was already and I was already inclined in to work towards to. I guess.
What are the misconceptions that people have about DJing?
I'm gonna sound contradictory right now.
Okay, let's do this.
But DJing is actually really hard. It's not. It is hard. It's just that I found my feet within it very easily. I had a great instructor. I have a great music background, but DJing is hard. You will have technical difficulties that are beyond your control as a DJ. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you know your ins and outs, you know what to plug in and what to plug in, what to do, but it's hard. And actually having to make people dance, it's hard. Sometimes you have to read the room. Like, I'm a gqom DJ.
Yes.
I niche myself within house, but I'm known for gqom. Sometimes I only have to, I have to read the room and I'm like, these people are not enjoying the gqom. These people are not enjoying it. So I have to change the genre and switch it up a bit, play something else within the house subgenre also to make the people dance. So those are one of the few misconceptions that it's an easy job. As much as I'm saying it's easy for me, it's not an easy job. Showing up on time, looking good, having your stuff ready, making people dance. Like, it sounds easy. It's not easy. Making people dance and people carrying through your entire set and wanting to dance and wanting to open circles. It's not an easy job. And I
Yeah.
also think people think it's just a hobby or it's a fun thing. No, this is serious work. Like you
Yeah.
have to be well rested. You have to have the stamina. You have to have the energy. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to know your music. You have to know what makes people dance. As much as you might know a lot of music, as much as you might know a lot of producers, it doesn't mean you have the capabilities to pick up which songs will make people dance, pick up which songs are gonna be what people want to hear at clubs or party scenes or party spaces.
Wow. Okay, I hear that. So listen, I'm gonna take a little bit of a twisted tour. What has it been like navigating queer relationships, and what advice do you have for queer people, like a relationship?
Ooh, I feel like we already touched on this,
Yes.
but I'm not gonna lie to you, navigate, and I'm not just saying this with my experiences of being a transgender. I'm saying this with all the experiences I've had as a queer body and all the expressions I've had as a queer body and my past relationships. Being queer and navigating romance is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard in the sense that one of the factors that we have to consider is that as queer bodies, we are always hypersexualized by straight people within the community also. So being in a position where you want something stable or you want to establish something romantic outside of just sexual intercourse or sexual engagement is always hard because we've always been put in the pedestal, we've always been put in a place where queer people are meant to be sexual objects. You know what I'm saying? So those are one of the few factors that contribute to us struggling to let our guard down and be vulnerable with other queer bodies that are potential lovers or potential romantic interests. Secondly, not everyone has come to terms with their queerness. And that's not their fault, but also that's not my responsibility as someone that has done the work and that has done the labor. So there will come times where you connect with people and you establish that you guys connect really well, but the spaces and the mental capacities that you guys are at are not in the same level.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself and tell yourself that this is a very interesting body, this is an interesting person, this is an interesting girl, interesting boy. I really like them, they really like me, but that is not enough. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I know what I want in romantic spaces, or you should be able to know what you want in romantic spaces, and you must be able to hold that and go with it, even in times where you feel like you want to let your guard down and actually give this person a chance. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, some people do have success stories where they fall in love and the people catch up and then they end up being in the same level of mental capacity. But that's rare. I'm being realistic. I'm saying don't dim yourself down and your expectations and your ethics and your standards and just who you are and what you want from life and what you want from a romantic partner just for the sake of settling down. And don't get me wrong, it's easy for us to settle down as queer bodies because our dating pool is really small. Our dating pool is really small and we all yearn to be loved.
Yeah.
We all yearn to be loved, whether in romantic spaces, whether in platonic spaces, whether in work spaces. We all, especially as queer bodies, we extra yearn to be loved because to a certain extent, it doesn't matter how well you were raised or how great your personal community is. To a certain extent, we experience so much rejection. And that contributes to a void that we feel as queer bodies. So it's natural for us to yearn to be loved, to want to be in love, to want to be in romantic spaces. But that shouldn't put you in a position as a queer body to lower your standards and to settle down just for the sake of wanting to love or wanting to fill that low void by introducing someone to your life that not necessarily is going to help you grow or contribute to the better of your life, if I'm making sense.
No, you are definitely. You're making sense. What's your view on religion and queerness?
Oh, this is so funny. I grew up in a Christian home, went to church for most of my life, And then I stopped when I was around 17. There was a time where I was like, the queerness was queering. I was not escaping who I am, but also it was just like, it was not a sense of I'm leaving church because I'm queer. It was just a matter of also the practices were not what I wanted to see. I'm like, this is not a place of God, you know? And I did struggle with my own personal beliefs and spirituality as a queer body, because I'm just like, everything that's about religion, about spirituality is against me. But how am I supposed to let my guard down and supposed to believe in all of this? But I guess having friends, the influence, and just, I guess, being chosen spiritually will make you realize that God made you who you are. And your ancestors, I don't know if you believe in ancestors, but I do.
Yeah.
I do. I had a conversation with someone that's spiritually inclined, so they can connect and they can communicate with ancestors. And I had a conversation, and they affirmed me that they know who I am. They've always known who I am, and they've always set out life for me as a queer body. And in that hindsight, I just realized that I've always known that I'm spiritually blessed.
Yes.
Even in the times where I neglected my spirituality, I've always known that I'm spiritually blessed, regardless of my queerness. So I do understand queer bodies that are not inclined with spirituality. I don't blame them. I'm not gonna make anyone feel bad for what they believe in and what they see and how they see life.
Yeah.
But from my own personal perspective, I feel like God loves us, and whatever God you believe in, God loves us. There was no mistake in creating queer bodies. There was no mistake in creating black bodies. Regardless of the prejudice we experience in the world and the harm and the violence we do experience, we are being protected every day. We are being showered with love, and we are being showered with blessings by our queer ancestors, by our trans ancestors, by
Yes.
our God. I think growing up, I had to realize that I have trans ancestors. I have queer ancestors. Like, there were people that came before me. There were people that are like me that came before me and are living through me. And they, I'm not just me. When they say we are ancestors' wildest dreams, they don't just mean it in the sense that we're walking into career spaces that our ancestors want to be in, or we can actually go to school, and we also are living the lives that they couldn't live. So we
Yes.
are a manifestation of their lives also. So just even in navigating relationship spaces and being able to fall in love as a queer body, being able to get jobs, being able to do all these little things. And they seem little for us now because we've had so much privilege and we've had so much work done for us by the past generation. But it's huge, and our ancestors are constantly living through us to make sure that we even get bigger blessings, because those are not just our blessings. They also are getting blessed for the times that they couldn't get blessed when they
Yeah.
were here. So that's my take on spirituality as a queer body.
Love it. Love it so much. What does love mean to you? Like, love.
Love is everything.
Okay, love is everything.
Love is everything, in a sense that you cannot do anything without love.
Yeah.
You cannot do your job without love. You cannot be responsible for your own being
Yeah.
without love. You cannot have a community without love. Without love, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the core and that's the main purpose that God and the universe had for us as humans.
Yes.
To show love, to love each other, to express love, to feel love.
Yes. I want to know what would you like? Would you like to start a family one day, and what does that look like for you?
Ooh.
What
Sorry for laughing. Growing up, I've always felt like I'm going to be like the rich aunt. The single rich aunt who helps out, because I actually do have nieces from both my sisters,
Yes.
who helps out with my sisters, gets my nieces to school, and on holidays they're gonna come over to my holiday house, and but recently I'm in a position where I am considering having a family. and maybe even getting married.
Wow.
Married was always out of the picture. I even sat down my mom from a very young age. It was a difficult conversation considering the age. I even cried. I was like, I don't think you're going to have grandchildren from me. It was even before I accepted my queerness. It was just out of the
Yes.
picture. I was like, I'm not going to get married and I don't think you are going to have grandchildren from me.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a position where I'm like, I'm not against it. If it happens, it happens. If I meet someone that wants to start a family, I'm not gonna oppose it, because I do feel like I do have great motherly instincts. I see it with how I handle my nieces and how
Yeah.
I am with other children, but I'm not quite too sure with that answer. I'm open to it, and if I do end up having children, I'm most probably to get married. Since I'm transitioning, they're not gonna be my own biological ones.
Yes.
So probably my partner's biological offspring,
Yeah.
or I'm open to adopting a kid or
Wow.
two also. Don't mind being a single parent. I grew up in a household raised by a single parent. So I know how that looks like. I know how that feels, and I understand the difficulties that come with that, and the to a certain extent the traumas that are also imposed to the children with being a single parent. But I feel like I'm more capable of raising children to be successful or to being responsible citizens by myself than as opposed to trusting a man. Because men are not trustworthy, especially when it comes to having a family with them. And yes, this is me projecting.
What are some of your biggest highlights in your career this far?
Ooh. Okay. This year I did Boiler Room. I did it
Oh.
last year. A friend invited me. They were a headliner, and they had a couple of their DJ friends as part of their set. So it was Dormant Youth and Friends. So they invited me. They actually, I owe them so much when it comes to my career. I owe them so much because they showed me so many spaces. They showed me so many people. They showed me so many skills within DJing also. But this year I got the privilege of being a headliner, being on the lineup, being part of the act, and it being my own set. That's one of the few many other things. I've always wanted to be in the digital space as a creator, and this was even before my DJing took off. This was even before I actually became a DJ. This was something I've always wanted to do. Even before I came to the city, I'm in a position where I'm enjoying being a DJ. I'm enjoying being an artist, and my brand being within music. But like the things that I wanted for myself a good 5-6 years ago are literally transpiring into my reality now. So I'm getting brand deals. I'm working with big fashion brands that I've always wanted to work with. I'm collaborating with brands for influencer work that's outside of actually me being a DJ. So I feel like that's a huge highlight, being recognized as a brand as a whole, not just as an artist, is one of the biggest highlights that I've had this year. And actually being able to commission my brand and make a living off being a brand is one of the biggest highlights. Because throughout my career, I've always had like cute gigs and relatively good gigs, but I feel like this year in particularly, I can say I'm a professional. I'm a creative professional, and this is my living. This is what I do for a living. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a side thing. It's not a part-time thing. This is on a weekly basis. I have to constantly avail myself for work, and not just DJing work. Like, I constantly have work coming up. I'm in a position where I actually can be like, no, I actually don't want to work with you.
Wow.
Like, no, I'm too occupied by other things. No, I have other brand obligations that don't allow me to work with you. And that's all I ever wanted. You know, I've always been desperate to be a brand and be able to get work as a creative. So I think more than anything, just being able to be in a position where I can do what I love, be who I am, be whatever I want to be, and make a living off that and get paid to do that. I think more than anything, I can mention a lot of specific gigs, a lot of specific events, a lot of specific brands that I've worked with, yes. But I think the big highlight is being able to be LIKKYLIKS and being
Yes,
paid to be LIKKYLIKS.
Okay, LIKKYLIKS. Is the family very supportive of your career?
Initially, no.
Oh, wow.
Initially, no. They realized how well connected it was with my queerness. And they were like, no, 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 no. But they realized that there's nothing that they can do about it. So all they did was like beg me to finish school. They were like, just finish school, then you can do whatever you want to do. And there was a one time me and my mom fought on my way back to Joburg. She was like, I see you're a DJ and I don't like this. This is you're gonna, cause she's not really fond of Joburg. And I understandably so. So she really felt like I'm really getting into like the industry for real. Like, and she's always known that I'm an entertainer and I've always been part of entertainment from a very young age. That's all I've ever done, even in school. So she always was aware. It's not a thing of, it's a new thing, but she never really thought that it would be a thing of, okay, like it's a big deal, like I'm in it. So we had a couple of hiccups, but she realized that I'm taken seriously. Besides me enjoying it, I'm actually being taken seriously by big people, by my audience, by my community. She saw it's beyond her. So she like, I tell her now, like she helps me out. Like she understands the work that I do. She understands that this is how I make money. And like I tell, and the thing is, I'm very transparent with my mom. So I tell her, and I'm like, this is how much I got. Like, I got a gig that they offering to pay me 5 figures just to do A, B, and C. You know, so like it was not easy for her to accept what I do, but she sees that the money is coming in. She sees that this is something that I love, and she's realizing that like this is beyond her saying no. This, you can't do this. Like this is something that I'm gonna do, and it's gonna find its way through my life one way or another, whether I'm in Joburg, whether I'm at home, wherever I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. But they were never really fond of it. Only my one sister was supportive. I told her about it, and then she was like, okay, cool. And then yeah, after that she would support me. There were times where I couldn't afford to get myself to gigs and stuff, and I'd have to borrow money from her. I'm like, hey babe, like I need to get to a gig. Like, can I get some money? And she would, if she had it, she would give it to me. You know what I'm saying? But now they very are supportive. They very are supportive. I tell them about all my gigs. My mom, and she, to a certain extent, she's understanding the work that I do. Even outside of DJing, like the digital work that I do, she's understanding that like it's an actual job. Like people make a living off it and stuff. She, more than anything, she just wishes for the best for me, and she just wants stability.
Yeah.
And I do understand that as a parent, that like that's all you want for your child, to have the stability. And I understand like the career that we're in, to a certain extent. There is no stability. It's very seasonal. Like you will have a season where you're winning a lot, and you'll have a season where it feels like you being blocked from getting blessings. You know what I'm saying? So I understand where she's coming from with her not initially being fond of what I do, but she does realize that it's beyond her. Like it's beyond her. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's true. So what is it like living as a queer person in South Africa?
Ooh. I'm going to be honest. In Joburg, it's amazing.
Okay.
In Joburg, it's amazing in the sense that we are platformed a lot in the city as identities, and not just queer identities. You can literally be whoever you want to be, and you will be given the space and the platform to express yourself within what you feel you are at heart. So being queer in South Africa, for the most part, it's good. And I'm going to be honest, as a queer body, we are going to experience violence wherever you are in the world. Some places are going to be safer than others. Like even in the developed countries all over the world, queer bodies are literally being killed in America. They literally are dying. Like there's this one page I follow called Them. So it's yes. So they bring awareness of what's happening within the queer community, the good and the bad. And unfortunately, I see the bad a lot. So being able to compare myself to a big country like America and seeing that to a certain extent we are privileged, especially in Joburg. We are privileged as queer bodies. Don't get me wrong, we are experiencing a lot of violence and stuff, but we are privileged. We have a lot of privileges. Our constitution does really accommodate and cater for us as queer bodies. But there are the downsides of being queer and being in South Africa, in the sense that not everyone's gonna understand your identity. Not everyone's gonna be accommodative of who you are, and not everyone's gonna love you for who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had said earlier in one of the questions, I did experience violence, literally here in Joburg, as a queer body for being queer. So I'm not gonna acknowledge the downside of being queer, but I think more than anything, we always are looking at the negatives of our queerness, but there's so much beauty within being queer. Like, we literally have Soweto Pride, we have Joburg Pride, and that's literally within the same studio, if you're being honest.
Yes.
Like, we have spaces made for us. We go to party scenes that are specifically curated for us. Safety is made for us and is ensured for us, and we are the priority for the safety. Like, you don't get that elsewhere in the world. I mean, you do, but like, you don't get that in other African countries. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. You really don't. So we are privileged, and I think I can recognize the privilege that we have, because I come from a place where queer people are not really platformed. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people. I'm grateful for the progress that's happening in my hometown and the province that I'm from.
Yeah.
Whenever I do go home, I see more visibility for queerness, and I'm so happy for that. But I'm in a position where I can have a point of comparison and a point of reference for the experiences I have as a queer body. And I can say, for the most part, we have it good. Not great, not well. We just have it good.
Yeah.
A lot of work to be done, a lot of safetyness to be curated for us, yes, but for the most part, we're doing okay.
All right, we're doing okay. Okay, there are many young queer people out there who look up to you. What would you like to say to them right now, right here?
Be yourself. It's not going to be easy to love yourself. Not everyone is going to love you. You're not going to be welcomed in all spaces, but remember that you are who you are for a reason. You are queer, you are loved, and there are people that love you. You are worthy. Your life is worthy. Your dreams are worthy.
Yeah,
your
boy.
dreams are valid. And you being here was never a mistake. No matter how you came into this world, whether you were planned, whether you're not, no matter how you came into this world, as a queer body, God had put us here, excuse me, to unite the rest of the world, to make love a bigger thing than what it already is. So keep doing you, keep slaying, keep expressing yourself, and eventually you will come home to yourself and you will fall in love with yourself, and everyone else will learn to love you also.
Yes, and there you have it. Yet another beautiful conversation right here on the Queer Superhero Show with myself, Motadi, the Queer Superhero. It's not over yet until we play Who Would You Top Bottom of Verse? All right, this is the fun part of the game. Is the ending. This is how we close out the show. We want to find out who is your top bottom of verse. Okay, we have we have 3 names that we're gonna give you, and you have to decide. So today we have Calvin Momo, and then we have Deb and Gogo, and Focalistic. So you have to decide between those
Oh my
three.
God.
Who would you top bottom of
Who
verse?
came up with this list? I need a conversation right now.
Yeah, we got Calvin.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like I would let Devin Gogo top me.
Okay, Deb and Gogo tops.
I don't know about the other 2 boys. I don't know what to do with it. I think I would. I'm trying to play the scenario into my head, and I'm trying to figure out and I'm just like, it's not giving pleasant. Let me take back my answer. Verse with Deb and Gogo.
Okay.
I would let Calvin Momo top me.
Okay.
Focalistic bottom for me. I feel like that would be an experience.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an experience. Like, I wouldn't mind Devin Gogo strapping me, and then
Yes.
I also top her, and then I feel like I would have fun with her. I feel like I would have fun with Mandy. So.
Yes, you would. Thank you so much. That was really fun.
Thank you. I had fun. Thank you for
so
having me
much.
once again.
No,
You're
that's
really doing
lovely.
something beautiful with this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for yet another incredible episode of the Queer Superhero Show. I'm Mondi. Remember to love yourself in all shades.
Sir.
Bye bye.